Yes, now ladies and gentlemen, here I am bringing you NXT reactions for this week. Okay, to kick off the show, Obafemi just got attacked in the parking lot by Jasper Troy. Finally learned his name. He's not called Travis, he's not called McCoy. It's Jasper Troy. I'm just letting my camera catch itself because it's just the focus is not there. Well, not the focus, it's just jumping. Like normally it does this for 5 seconds, then it's done, but it's doing it the whole time. Jasper Troy is his name, I learned it. Had it completely wrong, but it's fine. You can't blame me. Travis McCoy is actually an artist, a music artist. So, and I actually do listen to his song. Wait, no, I'm not gonna say that because I could be wrong. But Travis McCoy is an artist, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure he's on the song Billionaire with Bruno Mars, but I could be wrong, and that would be embarrassing because I do listen to that song. But regardless, Jasper Troy just put Obafemi through a windshield, making a decent impact on NXT. I will say, going right after the NXT champion, but Oba needs it. Oba's been facing a lot of underdogs, you know, like Miles Bourne and now the winner of LFG, because he's got no one. Joe Hendry's TNA, Trick's going TNA. Javon Evans is back in the North American title picture. I said Javon Evans should go after the title in a one-on-one feud with Obafemi. WWE didn't listen. Evidently, they never listen. But we're really struggling for people for Obafemi, so this Jasper Troy angle is pretty interesting. Alright, so we just had the first match of the night where Ethan Page successfully defended the North American Championship against Shawn Legacy, who earned that opportunity weeks ago, and it seems like we finally got the match. Ethan Page with an easy victory. Ricky Saints comes out after the match to attack him and get revenge, obviously after what he did last week in their match. Then we had a bit of a backstage segment where JCJ, the new NXT Women's Champion, was having a bit of a go at Ava for Lainey Reed, who was the new signing from either Evolve or LFG. I think it was Evolve. And she said she needs to run this stuff by her first because she's the champion. And she made fun of Fallon Henley for losing her North American Championship and took a shot at Jasmine Nix, saying maybe she'll win a title one day. You can see Toxic Attraction was a bit offended by that. That's when Lainey walked in, smacked JC Jane, says, "I'm ready for you now." JC Jane says, "That's my playbook. It ain't going to work this time. Only worked last time." And then that's when Reed slapped her again. And then JC Jane said she wants Lainey tonight on this episode and she'll defend the title. So it looks like we're getting an NXT Women's Championship match. Can't complain. Okay, so we just had a little backstage, well not backstage, but a little segment from the Culling explaining last week when Izzy Damer hit Brooks Jensen with a chair. Will my fucking camera work? Good. Right, Izzy Damer explained that the point of the Culling is they prey on the weak and feeble. And she said that's what Brooks Jensen was. Every time, he didn't dress like them, he didn't want to fit in. And every time they mentioned family, he looked around as if they weren't in the room. It's almost like he didn't want to be one of them. And that's weak and feeble, so that's why they eliminated him. And Sean Spears was impressed with Izzy Dame because she's getting it. She's getting the Culling thing. And Nico Vance is obviously in on it, so he got it as well. It sort of seems like Izzy Dame's probably going to manipulate her way into being the leader. But interesting. It was a weird play by WWE, but cool. Maybe they want Brooks Jensen as a bit of a solo superstar, but the NXT tag division is getting slimmer and slimmer. I mean, they broke up the D'Angelo family. They put Fraxium on Monday Night Raw, on Friday Night SmackDown. They just disbanded the New Quarter Catch crew, and now the Culling have lost a member. So the tag division's going slim. But it is what it is. And then we just had a match, the Culling versus Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura in their return tag team match, and the Culling won. Which it is what it is. Izzy Dame said she had a plan and she was carrying the chair that she used against Brooks Jensen. Honestly, in my head, I thought the plan was Josh Briggs was going to turn on Yoshiki Inamura, because when Yoshiki Inamura left, and it was, Briggs and Hank and Tank versus the Culling were trying to get in his head and saying everyone betrays him. Even Brooks Jensen did. And I thought Josh Briggs was going to become a member of the Culling. But then when Yoshiki came back, I thought, oh, they're not doing that. But now I have a thought that they could still do that and make Josh Briggs turn on Yoshiki Inamura because Yoshiki Inamura left him. Come on. Am I a genius or what? I feel like that's genius. Just saying. Okay, so I had Ava talking to Ricky Saints backstage, like, why are you here? You're still injured, you can't even talk. You shouldn't be here. Then we had a bit of a cutscene from Blake Monroe, who was the new woman who came last week, who I didn't know the name of. because I only watched WWE. And she's called Blake Monroe. I understand it's not what she was called wherever else she was. I think it was AEW. Which is probably why I don't know who she is. And she had a bit of a segment, cutscene, cinematic thing, basically living a glamorous lifestyle because her new thing is going to be that she's glamorous. Essentially, that's the character they're going to be going with. Then we had Lash legend beat Ren Sinclair with Kalani Jordan at ringside after I had a bit of an argument backstage. Tavion Heights and Miles Bourne were at ringside and they came out to the New Quarter Catch Crew theme. So I don't know if New Quarter Catch Crew is actually disbanded or they're disbanded from Charlie Dempsey, but who knows. And now we're going to get JC Jane versus Lainey Reed. So I'll check in once that's done. Okay, JC Jane successfully defends the NXT Women's Championship against Reed. I'm glad to see championships, like the major championships, are being defended on weekly episodes. I love that. I mean, we've had the World Heavyweight Championship change on Raw. Tonight we're having the NXT Women's Championship and the NXT Championship defended. Do you know what I mean? That's great. So I love that that's happening. But after the match, when JC Jane retained, Ava announced that there'll be some sort of tournament thingy. I wasn't really listening. But the winner will face JC Jane at Evolution, which is good because if you have Evolution in all women's pay-per-view to represent and demonstrate the evolution of the women's division, you have to include the so-called best women's division in the world. I mean, it's obvious. And I think what WWE could do as well is add TNA women and AAA women to the card to make it even better, because that's the whole evolution of women's wrestling, not just women in WWE. Main roster, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, legends like Nikki Bella, AAA, TNA will work. The only problem is WWE's current PLEs are 4, 5, maybe 6 matches. We need way more matches than that for Evolution. We need all the women's belts on the line. We need multiple matches from NXT, multiple matches from Raw and SmackDown, and then other outside matches. We need a 9-match card for Evolution. You know what I mean? Think back to the first Evolution. Everyone got their shine. That's what we need. But anyways, we had a bit of a backstage segment where Josh Briggs was a bit mad at how they lost because he felt bad for bringing Inamura back and losing. That's when AJ Francis and Casey Navarro walked in from obviously last week and from TNA, and they said, AJ Francis anyway said, I've been dominating this locker room since before both of us were here, so you know. Then Elijah walked in, or Elias, can we just call him Elias please, and said something about them costing TNA the TNA World Championship. That's when Casey Navarro and AJ Francis left and said they're going to speak to Ava about getting an opportunity at the NXT Tag Team Championships. And I don't mind this because AJ Francis used to be top dollar in WWE. It's nice to see that he comes back. Casey Navarro I've followed since his day in GTS Wrestling. What a guy. He's incredible in the ring as well, and he has an amazing frog splash and whatever. But I've not followed him in TNA or whatever, but it is what it is. That's a future matchup down the line. Pretty interesting. Well, boy, was that interesting. We saw Luca Crucifino. I'm learning the names. We saw Luca Crucifino on the phone just before Tony D'Angelo walked up to him. Tony D'Angelo said, "What's that?" And he says, "Nothing. Just some business." Which immediately Tony didn't trust because it could be Stax Lorenzo. Channing Stax Lorenzo. Come on! Hey, I'm improving, you know. Anyway, so Luca said, "Look, Tony, I'll prove to you that you can trust me." So then he said, "Tony, go on," because they're going to make their way out to the match. And Tony said, "Nah," because he knows he can't trust him. "You go first." So they went first, they made their entrance. Then we cut backstage where New Quarter Catch Crew was. Charlie Dempsey came up and he said, "Look, it's not hard for me to admit this, but I'm a man of my word. Well done, Miles. You did the job." Yao, New Quarter Catch Crew, shook his hand and he went on his way. Javon Evans gave him a little congratulations. Charlie was obviously devastated about it. Then Tavion Heights said, "Look, I want to take my shot as well." And then Charlie laughed and went, No, you're not ready for me." And Javon's like, "Whoa, why are you always holding them down for, you know?" And then Charlie's like, "Look, New Quarter Catch Crew is for yada yada yada." And he kind of deluded himself and kind of cut Tavion off and shut him down and said, "No, New Quarter Catch Crew is New Quarter Catch Crew." And obviously, I can see Charlie doesn't want to lose anyone else. He was very strict on them the whole time and very unfair on them. But now that he's lost Miles and he's being nice about it, you can see he's a bit sad that he's losing Miles. And he doesn't want to lose Tavion as well. So that's why he doesn't want that to happen. So Ren said she'll talk to him, but Joanna Evans is just a cool guy backstage, let's be honest. But yeah, let's see this match with the D'Angelo family. So the D'Angelo family had the match with High Rise, and Stax Lorenzo actually came out to try and attack Tony D'Angelo. While Tony D'Angelo was getting rid of Stax, Luca picked up the crowbar that Stax brought in, stood behind Tony D'Angelo, didn't do anything, but Tony turned around and thought Luca was trying to hit him with the crowbar, which is when Tony got distracted by Luca potentially trying to turn on him, and High Rise took advantage and got the win. So we've still got the story cooking with the D'Angelo family. It was a bit quiet for a few weeks, but we finally got it back. We had a bit of a backstage segment from Trick Williams telling Elijah how to get ready for their TNA World Championship match. I love how WWE are crossing all the brands here. Just TKO still can suck a dick. And now, finally, we're getting the main event. Jasper Troy versus Obafemi. I'm fucking excited. Let's go. So Obafemi beats Jasper Troy in a devastating matchup. I mean, Jasper Troy threw Obafemi in the corner and the middle turnbuckle came flying off. Then Obafemi threw Jasper Troy into the barricade broke and ripped the floors up. I mean, this is exactly what you want from the winner of LFG, fresh newcomer, and the champion, who are two big boys who have power and dominance. It's exactly what you want. There's a bit of a false finish at the end. Don't know whose fault that is, whether it was Jasper's for not kicking out or the ref for not knowing the finish. Or maybe it was planned, which is stupid. But then Obafemi just hit another fall from grace, and that was it. What a banging way to end NXT. What a banging episode of NXT. NXT, you're never really excited to watch, but once you watch it, you're happy you watched it. That's how NXT works. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.